It was one of those November nights where the rain doesn't just fall, it stings. I was leaving a charity gala at the Grand Hotel. I was wearing a silk dress, heels that cost more than my first car, and a coat that kept me perfectly warm. I felt safe. I felt established. But as I stepped out to wait for my driver, I looked down the street, and there, sitting directly on the wet, filthy concrete, was a girl. She couldn't have been more than 22, but looking at her face, she looked ancient. She wasn't just shivering from the cold, she was vibrating. It was a rhythmic, terrifying shake that I knew too well. People were walking past her, dozens of them. They stepped around her legs like she was a bag of trash left on the curb. They looked at their phones. They looked at the traffic. They looked anywhere but at her. To them, she was invisible. Or worse, she was a nuisance. My driver pulled up. He opened the door for me and asked if I was ready to go home. I looked at the warm leather seat of the car. Then I looked back at the girl. She had her arms wrapped around her knees, rocking back and forth, whispering to something I couldn't see. My friends told me to get in the car. They said, "Don't get involved. It's dangerous. You can't save everyone." But they didn't know. They didn't know that 15 years ago, I wasn't the woman in the silk dress. I was the girl on the curb. I closed the car door, but I didn't get in. I told the driver to wait. I walked over to her. The sound of my heels clicking on the pavement felt aggressive in the silence of her misery. When I got close, I smelled it, the scent of rain, old clothes, and despair. I didn't stand over her like a savior. I did something that made the hotel doorman gasp. I ruined my coat. I sat down on the wet, dirty pavement right next to her. She flinched. She looked at me with wild, terrified eyes. Her pupils were blown wide, swallowing the iris. She was deep in the grip of the shadow. She rasped that she didn't have any money. Her voice was like broken glass. I looked at her hands. They were raw. She was scratching her arms, trying to tear off a skin that felt too tight. I told her softly that I didn't want her money. She looked confused and told me to go away and let me freeze. I whispered to her, "I know the cold. I know how it feels when the bones hurt. I know how the shadow screams in your ear when the sun goes down. I know you think you are already dead." She stopped rocking for a second. She peered at me, really looked at me, and asked how I knew. I told her, because I bought my ticket to the abyss a long time ago, and I climbed back out, but I couldn't do it alone. I reached into my purse. I didn't pull out cash. Cash would only feed the monster. I pulled out a bottle of water and handed it to her. Her hands were shaking so bad she couldn't unscrew the cap. I did it for her. I asked for her name. She whispered, "Sarah." I said, "Sarah, my name is Elena, and tonight you have a choice. You can stay here and the cold will take you before morning, or you can take my hand. I won't take you to a police station. I won't take you to a homeless shelter where you're just a number. I will take you to a place where they can fight the shadow with you." She laughed. It was a dry, cynical sound. She said she had tried, but she couldn't stop because the hunger was stronger than her. I told her, "I know. It is stronger than you right now, but it is not stronger than us." I held out my hand. It was the longest minute of my life. She looked at the dark alleyway, then at the warm lights of my car, then at my hand. She was terrified of hope. Hope hurts more than despair because hope can be lost. But then she reached out. Her fingers were ice cold. Mine were warm. When our hands locked, the circuit closed. She wasn't invisible anymore. The ride to the clinic was silent. She threw up twice. I held the bag for her. I rubbed her back while she shook. My driver looked uncomfortable, but I didn't care. Getting her into the clinic was the easy part. The next 2 weeks were the war. I didn't just drop her off. I came back every day. I sat by her bed while her body fought to purge the poison. I watched her scream at the walls. I watched her beg for just one more time to make the pain stop. There was one night, the third night, which is always the hardest. The doctors called me. She was trying to leave. She was fighting the nurses, screaming that she needed to go back to the shadow. I rushed over. I found her in the hallway, huddled in a corner, crying. She screamed at me, asking why I cared, telling me she was nobody. I sat on the floor with her again, just like on the street. I told her firmly, "You are not nobody. You are Sarah. And 15 years ago, a woman found me in a bathroom stall, half dead. She didn't leave me. I'm paying my debt to her by not leaving you. You don't have to do this for yourself yet. Do it for the girl who comes after you." That night, she stayed. Recovery isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. Sarah fell down a few times, but she never hit the bottom again because we had put a safety net under her. 6 months passed before I saw the light come back into her eyes. It started small, a smile, a laugh, the ability to drink coffee without shaking hands. She started reading books. Then she started studying. She wanted to understand why her brain had turned against her. 5 years passed. Last week, I was at another gala, but this time I wasn't alone. A young woman walked up to the podium. She was wearing a nurse's uniform. She looked strong. She looked healthy. Her eyes were bright and clear. It was Sarah. She took the microphone and spoke to a room full of strangers. She said, "Most people think that to save a life, you need to be a doctor or a superhero. But sometimes you just need to be the person who stops walking, the person who isn't afraid of the dark. 5 years ago, I was invisible. Today, I see patients who are just like I was, and I tell them, 'Take my hand. I know the cold, and I know the way out.'" If you are listening to this and you are in the shadow right now, please listen to me. You are not broken for repair. You are not trash. You are just lost in a storm. And if you are the person walking down the street, look down. Don't look away. The person shivering on the curb might be the strongest person you will ever meet. They just need a hand to pull them up. Be that hand, because kindness is the only addiction that actually saves lives.